aboard to this episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to following the entire story of One Piece from beginning to end as we focus on each volume. We keep the discussion spoiler-free for new fans of the series, so this is the perfect place to follow along, whether you're new to the series or just want to revisit the world of One Piece with us. This week, we will be covering the second part of Volume 76, Just Keep Going, which covers chapters 759 through 763. My name is Joel. I'll be your host. Join me today, we have Evan.
What's up?
And we have Cody.
Let's go. More Dressrosa, more Dressrosa.
Yeah, so I think we have an exciting one that's going to maybe start to answer some of the questions we've been having throughout the arc. So yeah, I'm excited to dive into this one. Not sure about you guys.
So excited.
Very, very excited. There's some stuff I've been waiting for.
Yeah, pretty hype.
So we'll definitely be getting into that in a little bit. Just to kind of catch us back up to where we left off, here's a brief summary for what was going on. The Tontadas rose up against their oppressors, allowing Frankie to get into the Smile Factory, where he continues his fight with Senior Pink. When the Tontadas realized their princess wasn't in the factory, Viola was able to use her powers to locate Mancherry in the palace. Kinemon reunited with Kanjuro, his missing samurai comrade. Zoro stayed behind to fight Pika, allowing Luffy to proceed toward the palace. Along the way, he gained the assistance of the gladiators from the Colosseum. He reached the flower field where Rebecca was confronted by Diamante. Rebecca gave them the key to Lost Sea Prism cuffs, allowing him to use his powers. Kyra stepped up to protect Rebecca and get revenge on Diamante for killing Scarlet. Sugar attempted to turn Luffy and Law into toys, but God Usopp made an incredible shot, shooting a doll of his face at Sugar, once again knocking her unconscious. Luffy and Law arrived at the top of the palace, where they came face to face with Doflamingo.
God Usopp. our first god.
Like, I forgot how incredible the first part of this volume was.
Yeah,
right.
So good. So
oh yeah,
good.
that did happen. That was awesome.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, it's been a few weeks since we recorded the previous episodes. So it's gonna be a lot of, oh right, oh my, wait, that was crazy! Wow.
Hopefully for the listeners, they
Get
won't
ready.
even notice the difference. But all right, well, let's get into the cover story, because we were following Jinbei in The Solitary Journey of Jinbei, First Son of the Sea, Volume 8, Save the Capsized Ship. Jinbei pushes the sinking ship above the surface, gaining the thanks of the sailors aboard.
What a guy.
Pretty cool of Jinbei.
Yep.
He arrived just in time. The ship looks like it's in pretty rough shape,
Really rough shape.
so hopefully it doesn't just fall back down again once he lets go. I'm not sure what he's gonna do to keep it from sinking again.
I don't know how that ship's staying afloat.
They're just calling for reinforcements and just for a pickup at this point.
Everybody just get on one side of the ship, let the other half just sink down. We'll all stay here. Looks like they're
Need some
mostly doing
bubble
that.
technology ASAP.
I'm like, what happened? How what did this? Because that's a clean
Yeah.
cut. That's like Mihawk scuttering Don Krieg's ships level.
Yeah.
Or
those
the
are
pirates
gashes.
that Zoro cut their ship in half.
Yeah.
at Fishman Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like, oh, there you guys are. How'd you guys get down there?
I'll sold out to the cops real quick. Crazy.
Also, we have the pictures of the gender bent 7 warlords that Oda did for the SBS over here.
Yeah, those are fun.
Doflamingos kind of give me Courtney Miller vibes from Smosh.
Oh yes, 100%.
Because I feel like a few weeks ago, I feel like her hair was kind of slicked back in that kind of style. So I feel like same kind of look. But
This
less
needs to happen.
scummy than Doflamingo.
That's scummy. She could pull it off. She can bring the vibes when she wants to. I feel like she'd do well. Hancock's given a lot of ace, honestly.
I was
Yeah, I
thinking the
could
same
see
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I'd say we
And I
also
just
have some
I dig Crocodile's design. I feel like that could have just been the villain. I mean, I love Croc, but
I mean, this could just be be a picture from a little while back, you know?
Yep.
That's right. Oh my god.
Fuel for the crocodile fire.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, because we still don't know what the
That's
actual secret
amazing.
was. Yeah, it's
Right.
a lot of people speculated that Crocodile used to be a woman, but it's like it could be something else. So we don't know, but this could possibly be an indication.
I will
Start with
maintain this
Croc.
agenda.
All right, let's get into the chapter. We have chapter
Right.
759, Secret Plan. The Headcracker soldiers begin to fall apart, reverting back to humans. Sugar had used multiple bodies to form each Headcracker, which was why they were so large. Luffy is concerned about Bellamy, who has been beaten by Doflamingo. Doflamingo mocks the tearful Bellamy, telling him he will never make anything of himself. He begs to be killed. Luffy attempts to defend Bellamy, but Doflamingo uses him as a human shield, causing Luffy to accidentally kick him in the face. While it tells Luffy he needs to keep a level head, otherwise Doflamingo will exploit his anger. Doflamingo has had enough of his plans being interfered with, so he sends a string marionette after Law and uses Bellamy's body to attack Luffy. Luffy loses patience and is eager to use the strategy they planned. Law tries to tell him it's not time. Luffy doesn't give him a choice, unleashing his Gum Gum Red Hawk attack. While he uses his powers to swap himself with Doflamingo, resulting in a direct hit. Now on the throne, Law uses Radio Knife to cut Treble to pieces. All right, you guys want to take it from the top?
Yeah, I don't know where to start. I feel like Bellamy's situation is so heartbreaking because I feel like we've seen Luffy like sense his change of heart, and we know Luffy's judge of character is always very keen, and so this is tough to see Bellamy in such a situation here.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that we're like rooting for Bellamy right now?
Yeah, we actually feel bad for Bellamy. Like, who would have thought?
Right? It's so wild.
Yeah, I think this kind of gives us the sense that Bellamy's kind of been struggling with his identity and what he really wants out of life. Like, he's kind of wanting a sense of belonging, and he's kind of seeking for validation, and he's kind of he's looking for it in the wrong places. We're seeing that he kind of supported the wrong person who's not going to actually like raise him up or give him what he's looking for. So he's been kind of desperate, and we're seeing the side of Bellamy where he's kind of losing all hope, and he's realizing like he's kind of been investing all of this time and energy and effort into something that might not have been worth his time.
Right. And then he's used as a human shield, which is like the perfect foil to Luffy, right? Like,
Yeah.
Don't make me kick my friends.
Yeah, and this is just another example of Doflamingo not even respecting him and being like, "This is all you are to me. Like, you're disposable. I'm literally just going to like have you like take this hit for me." Like Doflamingo could have done something else too. Like he probably could have like avoided it. He could have like used like his powers in some way, but instead he just does like the cheap thing and uses this defenseless Bellamy to take the hit for him, kind of taking the fall for him, which is also kind of like a jab at Luffy too, because we have this moment where Luffy is defending Bellamy. He's saying like Bellamy did change. Bellamy is proving that he's more than like what you're saying he is. So Luffy's actually like trying to convince Bellamy like, hey, don't give in. You have so much to live for. It's just like an insult to Luffy here as well, to be like, here, I'm just gonna have you accidentally kick your friend in the face.
Yeah,
It's just
not even using puppetry, but literally just grabbing him and like quickly putting him in the way, using him as a human shield. Like,
yeah,
it's wild.
And laughing about it the whole time.
I'd say it's even classic Doflamingo, even in the way that he presents the situation when he first holds up Bellamy, saying, "You worship me, you flipped out." Bellamy came into that conversation like relatively civil, being like, "Hey, what the fuck? Why did you try to kill me?" Right? Relatively civil.
Mm.
And it's the same thing Dofi always does. He's going to make someone else the villain. He's going to cast them aside. He's going to gaslight them.
Yeah.
And it's just the same thing he does every time.
It's terrifying how casual it is too. Like this is just, he just like oozes confidence where like he just does everything confidently.
Yeah.
It's wild. And we start seeing his abilities on display here, and he is so powerful. I mean, like instantly making clones, having complete control over the battlefield. It's insane.
Yeah. So this is a confirmation of the string marionette.
Instantaneous. Yeah.
So it's literally just string. So it's like not like he's controlling some kind of puppet thing. Like he makes like a body double out of just string, and it somehow looks that realistic.
Instantaneously too.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean that answers the questions I was saying before. Is like, well, what is this thing? It's just strings. Also on the same page with the marionette, we see that Doflamingo says, if it wasn't for that incident, you'd be right here as a third core zone.
Mm.
I was just watching Punk Hazard recently, and I think it was Virgo that was saying that Doflamingo had intended for Law to become the heart seat. So we kind of mentioned this before, how
Mhm.
there's like the illusions that like heart, like the heart pirates, the heart tattoos. So there's been kind of like references to that.
Taking
Um,
the hearts.
yeah, that's been yeah, kind of like his MO. So yeah, there's been things like that. So this is kind of like a clear confirmation that Doflamingo was kind of grooming Law to be one of his officers.
They've got some history.
But something happened that made him change his mind.
And we also know Corazon is the fuel behind Law's rage
Right.
Yeah,
and need for revenge.
but it's interesting because he says third core zone.
Mhm.
I'm curious who
Yeah.
the other two were.
Yeah. Because we know there currently isn't one, right? There's currently no.
Yeah, I
We
believe
have
the
that
seat
one
is
revealed to
vacant.
us.
Yeah,
We haven't seen that yet.
yeah. We continue this conversation here. Doflamingo again, kind of getting into his head. So he has this line. Remember what I taught you years ago, Law? The weak don't have the right to choose how they die. So this kind of I think is a good summation of Doflamingo as a character, and like his motivation has been kind of about power and control, like over other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the way he sees things is the ones who have the power have the way to make the decisions, and like the weak people just have to go along with the whims of those in power. And I just think this is like very telling of Doflamingo, and we're going to get I think into more details as well throughout the volume. But I just wanted to kind of point out this line because I do think it's so perfect to describe Doflamingo's philosophy as a character.
Right. And it begs the question, like, who gets to define justice? And I think
Yep.
that's like a really strong theme throughout this arc in particular, especially with like Fujitora's kind of counterpoint to Dofi here. Cause like Fujitora is like, oh, I read this recently. Like he embodies like justice with eyes closed, which is like when you think about like Lady Justice, like her eyes
Mm,
are closed or she's
Mhm.
blindfolded to like
yep.
show impartialness and like objectivity and like the application of law. And like I feel like that's perfectly like Isho's stance is like he has that impartialness to him and is literally blind, like literally does not have sight. I think it's like such a amazing parallel drawn there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of like the flip side of the coin where Dofi is like Dofi's blinded by power
Yeah.
in a sense. Yeah. And you're right. And I feel like that line does kind of sum that up.
I think it's also on the subject of justice. It's very consistent with his speech at Marineford
Yep.
about how
Yep.
justice is determined by the winner of the battle.
Yep.
Just on a more macro scale. It also it immediately reminds me of I think it was Crocodile and Alabasta. I think either after he beat Chaka or after he beat the five guards who like had like the steroid water that made them die. I'm
Oh, the
butchering
kick
the
and
name.
claw force.
Yeah, those guys. And he was like,
Mm,
weakness is a sin. It's very, very reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
But it's also reminiscent of Law saying the exact same line in Punk Hazard
Ooh.
after being Tashigi and Smoker.
yeah.
So you can kind of see that
So
influence there.
exciting to see. How does this
Hmm.
influence show up otherwise?
Yeah, how much of Law is because of Doflamingo?
hmm I mean, Law literally does talk to Luffy about how cunning Doflamingo is, how you can't let him get into your head because Law's likely seen this happen up close and personal. But we know and Law fights in the exact same way that Evan had described this control of the battlefield, precision,
Right.
complete understanding of your opponents and manipulating them around. It is, as I think we've mentioned a few times, there are so many similarities between the two of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they're more alike than Law wants to admit.
hmm
But I'm sure it's the differences that also come into play here as well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to see how those hopefully manifest.
For sure.
Definitely.
And we have this cool moment where Law says not to go forward with the plan. Like they had a plan to try to catch Doflamingo off guard. Luffy decides to go through with this, and it's kind of like tipping his hand a little too early. So this is kind of meant to hopefully finish things off, but it seems like Luffy was hoping that this would be enough. But this Red Hawk move, it does hit Doflamingo. It does catch him off guard, but is it going to really be enough at this point? Because we've seen how tough Doflamingo is. I don't know if it's going to be enough to really win the battle.
Yeah. I know it was a misfire, but I do love seeing Law and Luffy combo move like side by side. It's such a
Yeah.
cool combo. Because like we were just saying, like we just talked about Law's fighting style, and Luffy's the exact opposite. Luffy's just like brute force.
Hmm.
Act, then think, and Law is like think, then act. And so yeah, it's fun seeing them do a little combo move here. The Red Hawk, the panel to like the imagery for the Red Hawk is so good. We get like that
Agreed.
big full page, and then on the second, we kind of get like the side shot, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know, but Law knows is like, yeah, this is a great move, but he's not gonna fall for the same trick twice.
Yep.
But it looks like they have the upper hand at the moment. I love that look from Law as Treble comes over the chair to try to help Dofi,
Yeah.
and Law just
So
looks
smug.
up. He's like, "Gotcha, hey, gotcha."
You fucking thought.
This is my throne now.
Yep.
Yeah, and just quickly before we move on to the next chapter, I just wanted to jump to the very beginning where we see the head crackers start to fall apart. And the reason why they were so big is because they were 3 people in one, which is really interesting that Sugar was able to do that. It's almost like she had like more ingredients because she had more people, so she could make something bigger. So they really lost their individuality on a different level than like the other toys. Who, yeah, at least like they were still their own singular body, but like their thoughts are trapped in that toy body. This one, I I wonder like what their thoughts would have been like. Did they all have their own thoughts still, or like was it some kind of like jumble? Like what kind of like happened with that? Like I wonder like the logistics behind that.
Damn. And I wonder how much of this Sugar knows. Like, she just seems to be like the puppet behind the, curtain. Like, I wonder how much
Yeah.
she actually knows what she's doing instead of just following orders and doing whatever Doflamingo tells her to do. Because yeah,
So I
pretty
wonder how
messed
much
up. Making mindless the zombie warriors.
Yeah, and then I also like Gladius' response because when they came out, he tells them that when the battle's over, they would have been returned to their proper bodies. And they're like, oh, that's a relief. Because at first they're like, oh, like what's a big idea? And then like he thinks to himself, oh, I can't tell them that we have forgotten that they existed. So he's like lying to their face, being like, oh no, we would have been yeah, we would have thought about you and returned you back to normal. So no worries. Like we're still on your side. All right, that's all I had. Do you guys have anything else for this chapter?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's move on to the next part of the cover story. The Solitary Journey of Jinbei First on the Sea, Volume 9. The Sailor's newspaper tells of Luffy's alliance. The sailors provide Jinbei with a newspaper and point out an article to him. Yeah. So looks like this might be how Jinbei finds out about the Straw Hat Alliance.
It's very. I can't leave this guy alone for 5 seconds.
Like, I just saw this guy 2 days ago, and this already happened. Like,
How big is Law's bounty?
I think it's 440 million.
440. So it's just a
It could
little
be
over Luffy's.
Yeah.
Okay.
he's also been active for the last 2 years, so.
Right.
And then it also got
And there's-
paused,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
so it probably evens out in the end. All right, let's move on to the chapter. Chapter 760, The Same Bet. Qualis scolds Sabo for picking a fight with a Navy admiral. Fujitora had actually decided to step aside, allowing people to think that they were at a stalemate. The citizens of Dressrosa let King Riku and the others go, begging for his help to save the country. He says that they will have to wait to see how things will play out. Fujitora appears, saying he placed the same bet on Luffy. Luffy's attack did not knock out Doflamingo, but Law's attack left Treble unable to use his powers for a few minutes. Law attempts to kill Treble, but Doflamingo pierces him with strings. Doflamingo ties up Luffy's arms, then uses Bellamy to slash Luffy. Doflamingo says he's offended they even thought they had a chance on taking on someone with Celestial Dragon blood. His parents decided to give up their power to live among the people, but they were greeted with hatred. He killed his father and tried to return to Marijoa, but they rejected him. He decided in return he would destroy the world. Yeah, so also quite a bit to unpack on this one as well.
I like the way Sabo's face stretches when Koala's chastising him. I think that's neat. I think that's fun and silly, which
He
is
must have got
exactly
it
what
from
I come to
Luffy.
for Dressrosa. What was that?
He must have learned that move from Luffy.
Yeah. He doesn't do it as well, but he's trying.
No, he's trying.
It's kind of funny though to see like Sabo, like who's been like pretty pretty well composed, and then like we see like this goofy face from him. So it's fun to see like this kind of side of the character now that Oda's kind of portraying here. And like Sabo's, the superior officer, but he's gonna get talked down by Koala.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, so in this chapter, we actually get more insight to the conversation that Sabo and Fujitora had, because we were wondering what exactly Fujitora had meant before. Because they had the conversation about not throwing the dice. So like, it wasn't about winning or losing the fight. Like he decided to risk his life by choosing not to fight. So we did say like before, I think when we discussed it, we thought like not throwing the dice means to not fight. And now we should get confirmation that he willingly chose to stop the fight because he wanted to put his faith in Luffy. So we kind of get this kind of putting on like appearances to be like we're calling it a stalemate, but like Fujitora is like his real goal is because he is putting his faith in Luffy, and he's kind of like seeing that's what King Riku is doing here as well. So he's kind of like we're of like the same mind. We're seeing the same potential in this kid, and we're saying this might be the best hope for this country. So Fujitora he was not prideful. I feel like, and John as a character, he's not prideful. So I think he's willing to put aside like his title, like I'm an admiral, but it's not the Navy's like the Navy doesn't have all the answers. So like he's like a big enough man to admit like, you know what, maybe this is the best course of action. So he's kind of stepping aside to let somebody else take up the mantle for this fight. I don't know what you guys think about that, or if you have any different opinions.
You summed it up perfectly, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, how wild is that? We've talked about Luffy making some crazy allies, and this has got to be the craziest. Navy admiral, like, come on. But it is really interesting, like the political tension that's being built up here, because I feel like you have right here we have like a bunch of different individuals like navigating justice within and sometimes against like the constraints of their political system that they are in. With Fujitora, with Sabo.
Yeah.
Everyone's betting on Luffy.
I think it's interesting to see like the people that had stormed this plateau that they're all on.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not actually pursuing the bounties that Doflamingo had put on them, because there's some big names on here that they could try to cash in on these bounties, but they actually try to ask for help. Like they're actually looking to King Riku to like save them. So I think it's interesting that these people aren't really falling into Doflamingo's plan. Like they're not being boxed in like, oh, like I'm going to have them do my dirty work for me. They're like, hey, we're going to King Riku because we're gonna have more faith in him. Like, can you save us? Like, we want you back. So I think it's interesting to see that they're choosing to pursue that as opposed to just trying to save themselves using Doflamingo's plan.
Yeah. It's everyone against Dofi, because it's like Dofi showed his hand and now they can sympathize with Riku because they know firsthand what actually happened, and now their alliance or their allegiance has changed. Pretty wild. Luffy stirring up some shit. Classic. Just gonna go into this town and just stir up some shit and see what happens.
Yeah, and then Fujitora also has like a good point here, where he says, "Dressrosa once stood as a symbol of peace. I'm not going to let it fall into war." So this is also, I think, a good reason why the King Riku isn't commanding them to fight, because they aren't supposed to be country of war. So that's really not like their strength or their specialty or like what makes the country great. It's because like they were such supporters of peace. So if they decide to like enter this war, it's kind of like going against what they stand for. Even though they would be fighting for a good reason, it's not really what they want for Dressrosa. So it's interesting that they're in this position, and they're fortunate that Luffy's here. But it seems like I think they would still be like outpowered by Doflamingo's forces, even if they tried to go by brute force. Like I don't think that they would be able to, win by combat, even if they tried to.
And Icho said it to Sabo. He said the Navy can't be the hero of this country.
Yeah.
So he's picking his hero.
Yes. Speaking of our hero, unfortunately, he doesn't actually take out Doflamingo as we suspected. It was a good shot, but it wasn't enough to handle Doflamingo. So the battle continues, and Law takes a pretty rough one. He has several through and throughs on this one. He gets hit by the strings, and it goes through his body.
Add it to the tally.
How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Add 5. And it's crazy. I don't know. Doflamingo just seems absolutely unstoppable. Like we mentioned all of his abilities we have mentioned all of his different skill sets last chapter, but in this chapter he's just too fast. Like he's just faster than everyone else. Like
right.
Let alone the armament haki, let alone cloning, let alone being able to manipulate puppets or creating clones of himself that are insanely powerful. Meanwhile, he's like got the birdcage going, clanking down an entire city. Like it's wild how powerful he is.
Yeah, it's like how much can you pull off the strings? Like
what can't he do? I know.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, and then we also get Doflamingo giving his history here. So we have confirmation that he's a descendant from the Celestial Dragons, but his father decided that they would give up their position as being a Celestial Dragon to live in the world of humans. And what Doflamingo says is they came to live in this cesspool of a world. Again, such like a superiority complex here, and just looking down at on people as being like trash.
Yeah, and being born into that. So that's been his worldview since birth. He's born into nobility. Yep. He's always seen himself as above other humans.
Typical Celestial Dragon.
Typical Celestial Dragon.
And we see even as a kid, like he was confused about like how things are different now that they were out of Marijoa. He's like we're the slaves. Like how come people aren't bowing before us? Like what's going on? Like this isn't right. So eventually, Doflamingo decided to kill his father. He clearly hates his father for giving up their power, and like he's thinking like, oh, like if he didn't give up that power, like, I could have been like one of the best Celestial Dragons. Like I could be up there still, but like my father ruined things for me. And he's like, I deserve better than this because I was a Celestial Dragon.
And we know how his relationship ended with his father, according to him. It's sad knowing that it's a case of ignorance here, right? Like he's just like an innocent kid who was brought up in these circumstances where this was the norm and this is what he thought.
Yeah.
He was told he was above humans since he was born, and so that's all he's known.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really interesting decision to have him be such a young kid when this happens, just given the amount of emotional maturity and understanding a kid would have, even for a Celestial Dragon, because we haven't seen the most of either of those traits in adult Celestial Dragons, but still just being in that phase of I want, this is mine, and just being so self-centered again, even for a Celestial Dragon. I think it's just neat to see the severity of that decision, how much it's informed him here, because he says he's witnessed heaven and hell by the age of 10. So it makes sense that he's going to fixate on that so much immediately after.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, and he didn't have anybody else to really teach him any other way. So like he did kill his father. So like the one person who probably could have, tried to raise him differently, like it was probably too late at this point. Definitely was probably too far gone. But like there was no hope of redemption because he was just going to continue to further that path. Like he was on that path going forward, and he just kept going that way. There was no like way to bring him back from that because he was just on his own at that point. So it's like interesting, even from like a young age, that was his path.
It's entitlement without empathy.
Yeah.
And it's crafted the perfect villain.
We'll see how he ranks on our villain rankings.
Come on.
Mid. Mid Quixote, mid Flamingo.
I think
Basic
there's-
ass power doesn't even make any sense. No aura. Wait, we're fucking feathers. What a loser! This guy sucks. F tier villain.
yeah, I'm seeing a nice spot right next to the Hody
Oh wow,
for him.
I'm rich. Wow, really sucks to be you, man. Wow,
Yeah. He might have a slight edge on Hody. We'll see.
baby.
Let's not jump the gun here. Come on. Yeah, as Alfred once said, some men just want to see the world burn, and this is one of those men.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for this one?
Good.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The good stuff. The juicy
Fucking
stuff.
go, brother.
Yeah, here's what we've been waiting for. The Solitary Journey of
begins.
Jinbei, First from the Sea, Volume 10. Not that article, this one. A Mob of Sea Beasts. The article that they were pointing out wasn't the one about Luffy and the law, but the reports of sea beasts attacking a port town.
Beautiful bait and switch.
Nice.
Good work, Oda.
With a sea kitten, like that little tear is like
Ugh.
breaking my heart.
We need to get this sea kitten home.
Yeah. But yeah, we find out like that the sea beasts went crazy. So presumably that's why the underwater town was like knocked over and stuff. Because the sea beasts are going crazy, but like what's setting them off? Like why are they doing this?
Oh, snap. And I just realized, remember that image on the subsequent article. We'll get back to it next chapter.
Next one? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll put a pin in that.
I can't quite read that. Mystery something.
Looks like maybe like Mystery
Ruins.
Ruin.
Yeah, Mystery Ruins. Anywho.
I'm excited to find out.
All right. So let's get to the chapter. Chapter 761, the Op Fruit. As the Navy soldiers try to handle the riots, Maynard gets a report that the battle between Sabo and Fujitora was a draw, which he finds suspicious. Luffy is able to deflect the attacks from Doflamingo and Bellamy. Doflamingo continues telling Luffy how cruel people are by nature. All wants to know how he is still able to wield the power to mobilize CP0 if he's no longer a Celestial Dragon. He admits to Law that the truth is he knows about a secret treasure being held in Marijoa that could shake the foundation of the world if this information got out. They haven't been able to kill him, so they decided to cooperate with him instead. If Doflamingo had obtained the power of the Op Fruit, he would have been able to use that treasure to take control of the world. He tells Law he doesn't even realize the true potential of his powers. Doflamingo says the fruit even has the power to grant immortality. Law is aware, though the user would give up his life to grant this to someone else. Doflamingo never intended for Law to eat that fruit. He had Law trained, but Law betrayed him. Law tells him that thanks to Korra, he can now use everything that was taught to him to take down Doflamingo himself. At age 10, Law came across Diamante and Treble in the North Blue in the town called Spider Miles. Law wanted to beat Doflamingo and wants to destroy everything he can for the next 3 years before he dies. His family ran a medical clinic so he could read his own charts to know his condition. Law was brought back to their hideout where he met Buffalo, Baby 5, and Corazon, who stumbled through the door. He hated kids, so he snacked Buffalo and Baby 5 away. The others introduced Law to Corazon, Doflamingo's younger brother, who seemed to be very clumsy. Due to a shocking event in the past, he was no longer able to speak. He threw Law off a building into a scrap heap. He survived the fall, vowing to kill Corazon. Corazon accidentally lit himself on fire when he tried to light his cigarette.
Let's go, boys. Let's go.
What?
Let's fucking
Wait,
go.
what?
Let's fucking go.
All right, so before we get into the backstory, I do want to take this one from the top
Yep.
because we do have a little bit more with the Fujitora development. So Maynard kind of sees that there's something not quite right about Fujitora admitting to a draw instead of like fighting things out. So that kind of like gave him like a red flag. So Maynard's now suspicious of Fujitora.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, I
still
would
in
say
costume.
Fujitora is not following protocol right now.
And
safe
some of
to
the Navy's
say.
noticing. Not
Yeah.
all of them, but some of them. Because he's also thinking back to the line where Fujitora said, "Does the world government think itself to be God?"
Oh boy.
Something to think about.
Yeah, Fujitora adds a really cool perspective to the naval plotline right now.
Yeah.
Because he's like an incredibly likable character, and I feel like I agree, or I want to agree with like his worldview and like his own personal justice.
I want to
Yeah.
see him and
So I'm
Smoker get
excited.
together, honestly.
Yeah, for real. I'd like to see that too.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting to see these exceptions to the Navy where they still somehow manage to climb the ranks to get to these high positions. despite us as a reader being like, hey, they're actually pretty cool. They're actually trying to do good. Because like we feel like in general the Marines don't necessarily give that impression, but we have these few exceptions where they do feel like their true goal is to do good. So it is
Yeah.
nice to see when like they are like this high up in the organization.
Also helps when you can put summoning meteorites on your resume. That helps.
Right. I think there's a lot of truth in that though, because it is like, how useful is this person, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which we see so
Like,
often with One Piece.
Yeah, or what's their physical might? Like how
Right.
powerful are they in a way that we could use a destructive force?
Like it
Right.
goes back to Arlong, like, oh, you think you can use that navigator better than me? I think it's just the same principle.
Yeah. Yeah, then we have this conversation here at Doflamingo, talking to Luffy, talk about how people are cruel by nature. But again, so this is a kind of question that I had before. Well, this is more about the CP0 part where Law is wondering why Doflamingo has this power still, even though he's not a celestial dragon. Like, what makes him special
Right.
to be able to do these kinds of things? So we get a little bit more information about this, that Doflamingo knows a secret that Marijo doesn't want to get out.
Crucial treasure. Oh my god.
What do we think it is, Evan?
What could it be? Okay. My first instinct was like ancient weapon. It's like one of the sacred weapons,
Okay.
which
Mhm.
we've heard of. What, 2? Do we know how many there are total, or just that they exist?
We do not.
I think it could potentially be one of the ancient weapons, or like information about the void on like a poneglyph or something. But like ancient weapon was like my first reaction. Yes. I don't know. That's a big, bold, crucial treasure though. Like, come on. What could it be?
The very fact of its existence would shake the world to its foundations. I think that's a big one.
Yeah. And it's coming from Doflamingo, who's like premier black market. Like, he knows,
Mhm.
if he says it's going to shake the world to its foundations, I believe him.
Yeah. And he didn't give that information out. Somebody who's kind of like,
Yeah,
oh, let's
no.
see how things go, or like, I just want to shake things up. Even he's like, oh, I'm not going to give this out.
Yeah.
But I think it's because like, it's almost like it's part of his power. And this gives a lot of context as to like why Doflamingo can get away with the things he does. So he's taking full advantage of the fact that he has this information. So the
Yeah.
world government is giving him a lot of leeway for this reason. They haven't been able to stop him, but like I'm sure if they could, they would. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like one of these things where it's like part of his threat level is because of what he knows.
Right. And it could be information too. Like I said, maybe dating back to the void, or like some crucial bit of evidence or something like that.
Maybe.
Makes sense. Also, just like a page back, I just really love this panel of Doflamingo saying all humans are vicious by nature for a couple reasons. One, just because of the fact that we learned last chapter about him being a child when he killed his father and left Sacred Marijua. I think one, that's just very informed by his personal experience.
Yeah.
2, the fact that we've just talked so much about these exceptions to the norm of the governmental marine power structure of Isho, of these people who are part of a violent organization who actually are trying to like see the virtue in Luffy. I think that's just a great counterpoint. And also the fact that Bellamy is in that same panel. Someone who, from the very start of his existence in the story, was an incredibly vicious character and whose change we have been able to see.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that Oda is laying out the counter examples to that in this same chapter and showing how self-centered Doflamingo's perspective truly is.
Yeah.
I just think it's really, really nice.
And that's assuming that Doflamingo is not talking about himself when he says that. He's saying all humans, and I don't think he considers himself like human.
Also,
Okay.
really, yeah. No, yeah, that's great. That's
like
huge.
when because he's not considering himself being
Yeah.
born vicious, and like he's not saying celestial dragons are vicious. He's saying humans are vicious.
Dude, yes. Oh my god.
And he probably would say, "Oh, I have the right to do that because I'm above you anyway."
Yeah.
Like I'm in a
Yeah,
different
he's
level.
not-
So it's like,
He's not including himself in that statement.
and I think it's also very
Beautiful.
telling as to why he would rely on the people of Dressrosa to attack the people he gave the bounties to. He's like, oh, they're just vicious humans. So they're going to do this because they're vicious. That's just their nature. Of course, they're going to attack the people I told them to attack. They're going
I
to
didn't
do what
do
they
it.
can. Yeah.
I didn't start this fight, Bellamy. You did. You came
Yeah.
in swinging.
So manipulative.
And then even more lore, the Op Fruit's
Oh my
ultimate
God.
technique. What?
Are you kidding me? The ultimate devil fruit?
Talk about OP.
What? Rewriting life and death? This is insane. And the fact that Law was like, yeah, I know. I was like, what? Wait, what? Wild. Absolutely wild. The Op fruit is probably one of the ancient weapons. Like, that's insane.
Oh, maybe. Could be onto something.
Yeah. It's that powerful.
Yeah, it's OP.
It's OP. OP,
It's OP.
OP.
It's OP. They had to say it twice.
Oh, amazing. But yeah, that's a huge tidbit.
Yeah.
But while performing it, the surgeon loses their own life, though.
Major trade-off.
So there's a catch. And it's a big one.
So Doflamingo did not intend for Law to eat it. So I wonder who he did intend to eat it.
Yeah, it's insinuated that Law like stole it from him.
Yeah. So I would assume that Doflamingo was planning to have somebody use the power on him to grant him immortality. Like, whose life was he going to see as being expendable? I mean, it could be many people. Like, who would have been willing to do that, or was he not going to tell them like the downside, or like what? Like, I wanted to know like how that was supposed to play out in his mind.
Wonder what the extent of his manipulation ability is. Like, could he trigger it using his manipulation?
Like, what do you have to do to do that? Yeah.
And then this fruit would cycle, and then there'd be a new fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's like Caesar. Mm-hmm.
That's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think of that too, about just getting to use the fruit again, or like have access to it again, like right away.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And we know Doflamingo's got that planned out, the master planner.
Yeah. So I mean, this could be a chance to get his hands back on the fruit.
Man, what a chapter!
And we're not even done.
We're not even done. We're not even there yet.
We're halfway through.
Yeah, and then we also have information that like Doflamingo had Law taught in these different skills. It's like Diamante, like taught him how to use like swords. LG taught him martial arts. Gladius had like artillery. So there's all these things that Law was being trained to learn under Doflamingo.
Mm-hmm.
And now Law's like, yeah, now I could use all those skills and all those things I learned to beat you.
Such a great line. Such a great line. I'm grateful, actually. You gave me the power
Love
to
it.
take you all down. So
Yeah.
good. So
Love
good.
him.
Okay, so now we are getting into Law's flashback, which is teased a little bit before, but
Yep.
now we are getting into the actual flashback. So what do you guys think of the flashback so far? What do you want to talk about on this one?
Evan, you first.
Enter Corazon. Who in this Stanley Kubrick is this guy? This guy should be the Joker, right? Like,
Yeah.
he actually looks like a jester.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we get an interesting dynamic here, and this character who's been teased this whole arc pretty much, and he's a klutz who hates kids, and is mute, and is also mute.
so it's kind of like a mime.
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, I guess
Mhm.
a mime for sure.
Yeah, so he's not the Joker, he's the mime.
Right,
Batman's lesser known rogue.
younger brother.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on this Corazon character?
Pretty. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to really judge. I mean, I don't like the fact that he's like beating on these little kids. But yeah, hard to get a read other than just kind of like a first impression. But it is interesting to see kind of like the behind the scenes of the Don Quixote like mob family. Like, you're getting like brought into the family, kind of like brought into the mafia kind of vibe.
Yeah,
for
very,
sure.
very mafia.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the design is sweet. I love the look. I guess the feathery plumage runs in the family.
Yep. That's like each other related.
Yep. Yeah, I immediately thought of Clockwork Orange. Not gonna lie.
It's very Droog-like.
Yep.
I think it's a great design.
Yeah, I agree.
Knowing that there is some echo between Corazon and Law, I like. You can even like see some influence in the wardrobe too. Wearing the jeans, same as Law, and I think even like the structure of the pattern of the hearts on his shirt feels very reminiscent of like the spots on Law's hat or on his own jeans too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, silhouette of the hood too. Law is a big hoodie guy, but it's still very distinctive, very much its own design. I'm a big fan. I always love when Oda has a character that's a nice blend of superimposing and stupid fucking klutz. And this guy is hitting those notes. Agree with you, Evan, on the okay. This guy just threw a child out a window. That's a little much.
Right? Like we're not the first impression I was expecting, knowing the connection that Law has with this person.
Right.
Not
Now I
not what
have
you
worked with
expect.
middle schoolers and have thought I'm gonna drop this kid out a fucking window. So I get it, but it's a lot. It's like and just like this last panel of him, it's so stupid, but like the feathers lighting on fire is also kind of badass. That's not
Yeah.
fair. That's not fair at all.
Right?
But no, very excited for this guy. And also, again, we're not really getting much. We only get a little bit of insight into Law here, but we know he's apparently terminal. But I think it also feeds into that little glimpse we had of saying, "I just want to kill as many people, destroy as much as I can."
Yeah.
Which again immediately calls back to what Doflamingo said last chapter about, "Oh yeah,
Right.
I had everything, I lost everything, then I wanted to tear the entire world down."
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, even more of those.
Some parallels.
Yep.
You can see why they were kind of drawn to each other.
Yeah. Whew, what a chapter. That was a banger.
Well, Joel, did you have any thoughts on
Nah.
Corazon at the start of this?
Yeah, so I did some thoughts about Corazon. Again, yeah, great character design. Again, like the contrast of like a cool character who's also super goofy. Like him just like falling over in pretty much every panel, like every other panel is like hilarious. He's like drinking the hot tea, spitting like the water out. I mean the hot tea out, like falling over the chair. Like yeah, so very funny physical comedy. And then, but then like we see him just like smack kids. It's like yeah, he hates kids, but is that really like, a justification to hit them? And then just like the way he grabs Law by the head to throw him off the building into the to the trash. Yeah, so very interesting character from this introduction, and very curious to see like to learn more about him. But one thing I did find interesting is at the beginning we see that Law is aware of his condition because he came from a family who had their own medical clinic, so he already has a background in medicine, and he's able to read his own chart, so he could confirm for himself his condition. So he knows that he has this. So I think it's interesting to see even at this stage, Law's already had this life experience is only at like what age 10? Like
Yeah.
I think he's already got like an interesting history going on here. We don't even have like the full picture yet.
It's growing up really quick.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had though. Just kind of wrap that up.
I'm good.
Yeah. And Cody, you're good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, we'll just move on. We have the Solitary Journey of Jinbei, First Son of the Sea, Volume 11. Let's visit the port town. Jinbei and the Sea Kitten arrive at the port town that was destroyed by the sea beast. So Evan, you had mentioned previously.
Yeah, that structure was on the newspaper. Was in the newspaper article. Mysterious ruins. I don't know what it means, but it's a clue.
Yeah, it does look to be the same one.
Which also begs the question of if the sea cat. I guess there is like land and underground. There is bubbles with air in them. I guess that have cities in them. Because I'm thinking like, why are there stairs on a building that was built for sea creatures?
Well, we don't know for sure this was for sea creatures because this is
It's
just like
true.
the port town. But there is like the sign over here that says Sea God. So I wonder if this is like some kind of shrine or like a worship to the sea beasts.
Hmm.
So like maybe
Maybe
this
a
is part of
worship.
like the way of life for the people that live here.
I immediately think back to
Interesting.
Skypiea Jaya when the Shandorans were worshiping Nola as the
Yeah.
some god. I forget which one it was, but Yeah, maybe they're worshiping one of the Neptunians or something in the same way.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else for the cover story?
Huh?
Mm-mm.
All right, let's get into chapter 762, The White Town. While the Don Quixote family feasted, Law returned after being thrown off the building. They indicated to Law that the family needs to be respected, but he's not intimidated. Doflamingo warned that nobody hurts Corazon or he will kill them. Black Vice notices Law's skin was getting pale. They realize he had white lead disease. They panic, but Doflamingo tells them it's not contagious. Doflamingo asks if anybody else from Flavence survived, but Law didn't know as he only escaped because he hid in a pile of dead bodies. He insisted he doesn't believe in anything and vows to get revenge on Corazon. Baby Five asked about the White Town. The officers explained the kingdom of Flavence was known for its pristine beauty, with even the plants and soil being white. They later learned that this was due to the white lead in the foundation. The white lead was valuable and sought after, being used for various products. The world government also became involved with the trade after realizing how profitable it was. 100 years ago, the world government surveyed the land and determined that the white lead bedrock was relatively harmless if left alone. But once handled by people, it would start to eat away at the body. They withheld the truth, allowing people to mine the bedrock because it was so profitable. Over time, the disease started passing down from generation to generation, shortening each generation's lifespan shorter and shorter to the point where children would never grow to adulthood. When this information got out, the neighboring countries feared contamination, so they blocked off all access to and from Flavence, which became known as the White Town. The world government evacuated the royals from Flavence, leaving the rest of the people. They tried to fight back, but the other countries used this as a reason to wipe out everyone in the country. Law's parents were doctors and realized that the disease could not be spread, so there was no need for other countries to worry about the disease spreading and should be treatable. Everyone Law knew, including his parents and sister, were killed, but he managed to get away. Law found Corazon alone reading the newspaper. He used this chance to stab him through. Buffalo witnessed this and planned to tell Doflamingo. Okay, yeah, this one's pretty heavy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lao G has some cool bunny ears.
Yeah, he does. Back in the day.
Mhm. Also, that pizza they're eating, holy shit.
Yeah, that's massive. Massive pizza.
That's
Jeez,
deep
so
dish.
chewy.
And why is nobody sitting on the close side of the table?
It's like the Last Supper.
It's like the Last Supper. It's like group photo.
Oh, look at baby Dellinger
Cute.
drinking out of a
Literally.
bottle. Yeah, it's interesting to see like how young
Then you're
all of them
pink.
look. Yeah, huh? It's
Looking
like
pretty
unrecognizable.
suave. Yeah.
Also, not wearing a diaper or a bonnet, so
Things got weird.
Yeah. He took a turn.
Yeah. He did not take aging well.
yeah, I want to know what his deal is.
Yeah, right.
Weirdo.
Yeah, so I was kind of like standing up to Doflamingo here. Like he kind of doesn't have anything to lose,
Yeah.
but Doflamingo kind of respects him.
Yeah.
But he also seems to be very protective of his brother. So I was like, if anybody touches him, I'll kill them myself.
Yeah. Doflamingo must have seen something of himself in Law because the parallels that we just mentioned, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hid in a mound of bodies. What the fuck?
Yeah. So that's how Law was able to survive. That's like traumatizing for like a 10-year-old to have to go through on his own after like losing everything. He had to resort to this to survive.
Yeah. This kid also went through heaven and hell by the age of 10.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Oda does another just heart wrenching, devastating backstory here.
But we do see that there's this grudge that is now being established for Law wanting to get revenge on Rosinante. At first, like, definitely ask, like, what do you bear your grudge against? And he said, I don't believe in anything anymore. I'm not afraid to die. But then he targets Corazon here, being like, I want to get revenge on you, though. Like, for for throwing me off this building, almost killing me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of the White Town? Like, how that played out?
I mean, it's truly tragic. And it feels like reminiscent of many stories we've now heard where these cities just kind of get like swept under the rug. where like the world government really isn't caring for its people so much as like the world image, even if it's inhumane. It's like
Or in this case,
hard
profit.
to, yeah, it's really tragic. And the imagery is brutal, like especially like the last double page of the like the hospital burning and like the streets littered with bodies. It's like really disturbing imagery from Oda here, and it paints like a really really dark, horrifying image of Law's backstory.
Yeah,
Heart wrenching. I mean, this might be the most graphic, one of the most graphic backstories we've seen.
quite possibly.
Yeah, it's up there. For me, the misinformation just immediately ticks me off.
Yeah,
I mean, we've not to say it's the same, but we've experienced the last 5 years. Just, I think going through COVID, like that's just immediately makes me think of just how much was going around there. The fact that it's sprouted this xenophobia of anyone from Flemons, the fact
Yeah.
that it restricted people like that. I could go on, but I don't think I need to. And also, just Law in particular, just seeing these panels of him caring for his sister, genuinely loving to learn about the human body and being excited to help people, having faith in his parents, in his town, in institutions, such a far cry from just like the idea of Law and his personality and the vibes he got in just the general atmosphere of his character. It's not surprising to see him say, I don't believe in anything
yeah,
Yeah,
after this. It's completely warranted
yeah,
and done so quickly. It's heartbreaking, but it's masterful. It's yeah. I like to make fun of Law for how much I love him for like being edgy emo, but like it's Oda's done a very good job here of rooting it in something
yeah,
that feels a little too
Yeah.
real sometimes.
yeah. It's almost like reminiscent of like Robin being like the lone survivor of like this tragedy.
yeah, for sure.
And like having to witness like everything and everyone that just be destroyed like in front of your eyes. And possibly the most tragic thing about this is how unnecessary it ended up being. It was, like Cody was saying, like misinformation. It's people not taking time to understand this. It's people being killed out of fear. It's being killed out of greed. Because like a lot of parents are doctors and they realize this disease is treatable and it's not contagious. There was no threat. But they went nuclear anyway and decided to wipe everybody out instead of actually trying to treat the disease. So all this could have been prevented if they had actually listened and if they actually took the time to understand this and allowed them to try to treat it, but instead they wanted to just wipe things off the planet.
Yikes. Too real.
Yeah. And it's like sad to see even like this like nun type character trying to help and being told the soldiers have come to help them and to set them free. But in reality, the soldiers are there to actually kill them. So there was like this false hope and they were being told something different, but it was kind of just like to round people up and kill them and set everything on fire. And just like that, like Laws lost everybody that he cared about.
Yeah. It's a heart wrenching backstory that would break anybody. Meanwhile, the Don Quixote family is explaining all of this casually, like while performing acts of atrocity. Like they're like doing brutal acts of violence while casually having this conversation about the back, like about
Yeah.
what happened. And it's just like so, I don't know, like normal, like the violence is so normalized to them that they're completely like jaded to it.
Yeah. And then like this is something that had been going on for like 100 years. So like they had like 100 years to take corrective action or to be like, hey, this is dangerous for people. We need to stop doing this. But the world government decided that it was better to suppress that information, let them continue doing what they were doing. So that way they can maximize on the profits to the point where the surrounding countries became fearful and they took action themselves and decided to kill people. But this went on for so long that the children won't see adulthood and they won't be able to have their own kids. So like it was basically people were losing their entire lineages because they chose not to get this information out or take action to save the people who were doing this work for them. Again, to go back to like the Great Terminal and Goa Kingdom stuff, where it's like everything looks nice on the surface, but then when you kind of get down to like the truth of things. It's like they're just kind of sweeping things that like don't look nice to the side and just making things appear to be nice. So like the country had like it looked pretty, but it came at the cost of like so much human life. So yeah, I think Oda does a very effective job in this chapter, really highlighting how like horrific the situation is, and really giving us this heartbreaking story from Law's childhood, like where he came from, and the tragedy of his home kingdom. And then we do wrap up the chapter with Law stabbing Corazon. Again, another through and through.
Now through.
Get a lot of them in
That's
this volume.
Near the heart.
Yeah, not quite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point, though.
Yeah, maybe he didn't get an A in anatomy. The guy close enough.
He only got his bachelor's.
Hey, but not bad for a 10-year-old. I'll give him
He's just
that.
pre-med.
Yeah, interesting development. Like we said last chapter, it's like knowing what we know. Interesting to see. This relationship's feeling very loaded.
I do also. I find it very interesting that Doflamingo fell asleep reading a book on Flevants.
Hmm.
And it could either be, oh, this kid might be in my family now. Let me learn about him from a place of genuine care. Or, what ammunition do I have on this kid who's about to join my corporation?
Yeah.
The latter.
And I wonder what's actually in the book, because I doubt the world government would allow the truth to
Yeah,
actually be
that's true.
published.
Mm-hmm. Then Doflamingo already seems to be very, again, says to Jola, don't embarrass yourself by spouting things you've only heard in rumors. So even he is cognizant of the fact that this information is out there.
Right. So he's probably fully aware of like the truth.
Yes. He would have a pretty layered reading of it. We'll see.
All right. You guys good to move on to the next part of the cover story?
Yep.
Okay, so we have the Solitary Journey of Jinbei, First Son of the Sea, Volume 12. The ruins atop the port are the Sea Kitten's town. The Sea Kitten's home was moved to the port town somehow. Oh, so Evan, looks like you were right.
Something's afoot.
Yeah, so these ruins weren't actually here before. They got somehow moved over here.
Mysteriously.
It does feel very much like the kind of like little castle you put in an aquarium for the fish to swim through.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
So it looks like it probably has like some algae on it and stuff. So it looks like it was under the water.
Yeah.
That's why it's a mystery ruin. Okay, so let's wrap up with the last chapter. Chapter 763, Declaration of Humanity. When Doflamingo was a kid, he, his father, and brother were tortured by people looking to take out their hatred on these celestial dragons when they learned they used to be part of them. Saint Don Quixote Homing had decided to leave the celestial dragons to live among the normal people, to which baffled the other celestial dragons. The Don Quixote family settled in a mansion, hoping to live a quiet, peaceful life. The young Doflamingo was not able to process their new way of life, expecting slaves and people to obey his every demand. When the people learned that they were celestial dragons, they burned their home to the ground, leaving them on the run. Homing regretted his decision and begged for the celestial dragons to take them back, but they refused. They survived on garbage, but Doflamingo's mother became ill and passed away. The mobs continued to hunt them down, and Homing begged for them to spare his children. Jola and Macbais caught Law trying to flee after what he had done to Corazon, realizing it was only a matter of time before Doflamingo found out. Thinking Corazon would have reported this to Doflamingo himself, Law was surprised when Law offered to make him an official member of his family. He planned to make him his right-hand man in 10 years, even though Law only had 3 years to live. Doflamingo said that they are experts in the black market, so if he sticks with him, they could probably find a cure for his disease. Over time, Doflamingo expanded his operations while having Law trained. Baby 5 and Buffalo saw Law's disease was spreading. They told Law their real names, so they insisted he tell them his real name. He told them Trafalgar D. Water Law. He tried to tell them the history of his name, but they weren't interested. Corazon overheard and pulled Law away. He asked Law if this was true, and if so, he needed to get away from Doflamingo immediately. Law surprised that Corazon can speak.
What?
Huh.
man,
Plot
Mhm.
twist.
where to start?
What a first panel.
I know, right? Holy
That's the
shit!
opener.
It paints the picture real quick, though. I mean, it's like a cruel irony that like the family that tried to separate themselves from this end up suffering because of that. And it kind of makes you think like it's the classic like violence begets violence, and like the villagers here seek out their revenge by turning into celestial dragons and brutally torturing and murdering these people.
Yeah, it's just kind of like fueling the hatred for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also feels
But
really
yeah,
naive of this guy to expect that he could just chill out on the surface level, having been a part of the Celestial Dragons, even if he was someone who didn't agree with them, to think that there wouldn't be any, wouldn't be anyone pissed at the dragons in general.
yeah, it's definitely like an ignorance and wishful thinking.
Yes. Yeah.
He did not realize what the reality of the situation would have been or how they would have been received. He was probably thinking like, "Oh, yeah, like this will be nice and easy. We can try to be better people. We'll have yeah, we'll have a good time." But the reality is like the celestial dragons have done horrible things to these people as well. So they're kind of taking it out on, these celestial dragons, and yeah, it's not going to bring back, their children who were killed and stuff like that, but it's just kind of perpetuating that cycle of hatred and feeding it back into it, because now Doflamingo's also growing up and, hating the people. So, yeah, it's just kind of, going both ways.
Yeah. It does seem naive, but it also could have been more innocent than like we don't know the perspective of the Celestial Dragons. Like, do they know that the world hates them and that they're these actual villains, or are they living through these like sugar coated glasses where they see themselves as, heroes instead of villains kind of thing?
I think it's more the latter.
But I think there's a naivety in that to think, okay, I'm going to take slaves, I'm going
Sure.
to take these people's lives for
Right.
nothing, and they're not going to be pissed about it, right? I
Right.
guess maybe closed off might be a better way to phrase it than naive necessarily. But yeah,
Yeah, because they're warping the reality around them because people do what they say. So now
Right.
that they don't have power, like there's nothing stopping them. Like there's no retaliations. It's not like, oh, there's gonna be a bus recall if we attack these people. The Navy's not gonna come down on us for attacking these people. These celestial dragons don't have any power anymore. So there's no threat. Whereas normally if like a celestial dragon gets touched or, look at the wrong way, then the Navy will come down and like wipe people out.
Yeah. It's a very sheltered, protected view.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. They were sheltered, and now they went to the real world and be like, things did not work the way I thought they were.
Yeah. But then it's like a self fulfilling prophecy with these humans acting like animals.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that their hatred isn't justified, but this is not the way.
Right. Because again, it goes back to like the age old thing of like revenge isn't
Right.
the answer, because it's not going to, again, it's not going to bring back the people who are gone. It's
Right.
not going to solve the issues. It's just going to be a temporary way for you to unleash like your anger, but it's not going to actually fix things for you.
I think it raises a really good question of when all is said and done, when the One Piece is found, when we have our happy ending, what do we do about Celestial Dragons? How is Oda going to resolve this?
Send them to the moon
Fuck it.
with an L.
Yeah.
He'd fit right in with them.
Yeah, they could hang out. That'd be great.
Yeah. That'd work.
Yeah, I mean that is a very valid question, because the world of One Piece is essentially broken, and I think we'll have to see some kind of resolution at some point before the end of the series, because there's more to it than what we as readers know. And we've been getting like hints here and there, but we don't actually know what the actual status of the world is or why it is the way that it is. We just know that it's not working the way that it's supposed to, and something was changed, and the world government wants to keep it that way. So I mean, Doflamingo still did have a horrible experience as well. So again, as much as like we know that Doflamingo is not a good person, he did also have a tough experience, and his mother got killed when they were like living off of garbage, and there was no way to like save them. They were actively hunted by the citizens. So yeah, overall, like they had a tough situation, but then yeah, like we see like the regret from homing, again trying to get the way back into Marijoa. I think it's interesting to see on the conversation where their response is, "You chose this life for yourself. What is this card cannot be returned. Don't ever call me again, human." So it's like you are no longer considered a god. You are now just a lowly, a vicious human. Because like the humans even like kind of like highlighted and bolded. So it really kind of puts like emphasis like human, like there's like that disgust in it, you know.
Right. But it's crazy going from that perspective to now even the humans which they thought below them are treating them like they're not human. Like
Yeah.
are treating these celestial dragons like they're not humans either.
Because they're not entitled to whatever whatever they want anymore. Like Doflamingo is saying, like, "Father, for the first time in my life, it hurts. For the first time in my life, I'm hungry." So they're kind of like experiencing these things that they never had to deal with before. They never had to deal with hardship because everything was just given to them. So now they're actually realizing life is hard.
Yeah.
Continuing on with the other part of the flashback here, Law has impressed Doflamingo, and at first, Law thinks he's been ratted out by Buffalo, but Doflamingo actually wants to make Law part of the family, so he's kind of being accepted here. Yeah, Rosinante didn't spill the beans or tell Doflamingo what happened, and we know by the end of the chapter that Corazon can speak, but he chose not to. He didn't give away Law, so like Law's confused why like he would have why he would like not tell him what happened. Because he could be like, "Oh, this kid tried to kill me. Let's kill him. Like, let's get him out of here." No, he lets Law go through this induction into the family.
There's so much to unpack here. I feel it's like starting from like Doflamingo inviting Law in and some very pointed foreshadowing here that says if luck may be on your side, maybe one of the devil fruits we get before your 3-year time limit will save your life in the nick of time.
Yeah,
And knowing that Law eventually obtains the Op fruit, and I'm just assuming here, but it seems like he could have the ability to remove his own illness from his body. Like that seems like a plausible way for him to negate his early demise.
yeah,
But I mean, we just had in the last chapter reference, or maybe 2 chapters ago, of like eternal life also being a possibility through the op route. But I don't know. It seems like some very pointed foreshadowing, and I think this also really represents, or this scene like really represents, Doflamingo's like weaponizing of hope.
Hmm.
mm,
And I think we've kind of talked about him, how he treats the people around him, and like how he brings these people in as like family members and found family and all that. And we've had these conversations around like Doflamingo's intentions with bringing these people in and making these people close. And I feel like this is an example. We're watching somebody get like brought into the family, taken under his wing, given these Bellamy too, like Bellamy just in like the last chapter. But like I think I think that Doflamingo is just using hope as a weapon to meet his own goals at the expense of other people. And I think this is a perfect example of that.
yeah. I mean, I do think it's interesting that like Doflamingo still is willing to invest into Law, knowing that he has like a 3-year lifespan remaining. But he sees like, oh, there's a chance that we could do something about that in that time period. 3 years is like enough time that maybe we find an answer for you. But I think it's interesting that Doflamingo takes that approach, and it's very like savvy of him in a way too to like also be like, there's something in this kid that it's like worth putting the time in, and if we can save him, he's going to be very useful for me in the future. Like I'm going to be able to maybe like hold this against him to be like, oh, I did this for you,
Yeah. Indebted.
so yeah, like I saved your life, so now you owe me.
So he's gotten a young surgeon to potentially give
Yeah.
the op fruit to potentially fulfill the ultimate. Yeah. I mean, it all lines up. It all lines up. And then on top of that, and I think the further that point, like us questioning whether we thought Doflamingo's relationship with his found family is like genuine or not. We see his his bloodline here betraying him at the end of this chapter by overhearing Law spill that he's got the will of D. Like what? First of all, like what? Like what a huge drop here.
Didn't have that one on your
Uh,
bingo card.
did not see that coming, but I'm so glad that happened. Like that's so sick. And Corazon immediately picking up on that and breaking his like muteness and warning him here.
Yeah.
So we're seeing someone on the inside who Dofi probably trusts more than anyone else in the world. It's being like, get away from this guy. Like you need to go. You need to leave. And it also, I wonder if like maybe that's why Corazon hates children, because he doesn't want people entering this family. Like he doesn't want these young kids getting picked up off the streets and indebted into Doflamingo's family, and then owing him these favors down the line, or like being dispensable to or indispensable.
So they might be like a way of these like discouraging kids from being used by Doflamingo.
Yeah, I think he's maybe trying to warn them away and be like subtly in his own quirky way, being like, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah, without being like
Yeah.
upfront about it and being like obvious. So like a subtle way of doing it. Yeah, and then he also has this other name too that we haven't heard before, the water part. That's also new.
Oh yeah. What does he say about? He said something about it.
So the D is an alias and water is my secret name. For generations, my
secret
family
name.
has. And then Buffalo's like, that's not a very interesting story. Like as a reader, we're like, no, keep going. Buffalo is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Buffalo, get out of here. No one asked you, Buffalo.
Damn kids.
Yeah, so very interesting. Very interesting reveal. And the fact that Corazon isn't mute, like we were told, is also very interesting. This was important enough for him to say something.
Yeah, that's wild to me. And I think really telling of Doflamingo.
So Evan, do you have any ideas as to why the D initial would be so crucial for Doflamingo to not be aware of? Like, because that seems to be why Corazon steps in here.
Yeah, well, we know Doflamingo knows about Luffy having the will of D,
Yeah.
and that scared him, if I remember correctly, or it was something he had on his radar and was definitely taking into consideration.
Or to like not underestimate them kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if he knows more than the reader, we as the reader know,
Okay.
and is taking precautions because we know he's taking everything into account and has access to more information than probably anyone else in the world. If he's fretting about it and worrying about it, it's got to be something pretty significant. And we are seeing kind of like similar, maybe not personality traits, but like ambitions, I guess, of like people that have the will of D.
Yeah, there's something about them that they feel like a force.
Yeah. They have like really big dreams and like seem to have a gravitas to them.
Yeah. Yeah, but very interesting.
Yeah, what a cliffhanger. And man, we got some really good lore. We got some really juicy lore this episode. How about that?
I also did want to mention here, just as a quick note. Did you guys see the spelling like Rocinante in the chapter?
ROCY or Rocy?
I did see Rocy because Doflamingo referred to his brother as Rocy, but did we see the spelling of his full name at one point?
Oh yeah. Homing says, Dofi, Rocinante, I must teach you the ways of the world from scratch.
Rocinante with a C.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they had changed the spelling or not. I know the card game uses Rosinante, and that's always what I had gone with an S.
Same. Yeah.
But Rocinante is actually the horse that the character Don Quixote used in the novel, because that's a Spanish story from like the 1600s. Clearly, the Don Quixote name is a reference to that, but we also have Rocinante as well. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So we do actually get Corazon's actual name, which is Rocinante, because Corazon is the code name.
Right.
But yeah, his name is Don Quixote Rocinante. All right. Yeah. Do you guys have any final thoughts for the chapter or the volume as a whole?
Oh, this arc is getting so good. This pod was particularly fun. I feel like there's just a lot
Yeah.
of really cool lore with the Will of D, secret name, water, Corazon reveal, the crucial treasure. That I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to know what that is ASAP. The op fruit, like, come on. I don't know. I'm super hyped to see where this goes. It was really cool getting the backstory of Doflamingo and Law and the surprising like parallels between them. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm
Yeah.
hyped.
I think a lot of stuff thematically is starting to synthesize right now as we've gotten to the rooftop, as we've gotten to this brawl between Luffy, Law, Doflamingo. And this flashback, for many reasons, is something that I've been waiting for the entire arc. And I haven't said a ton, at least compared to what I want to say. I'm gonna have more to say next episode, and I'm very sad that this is where we're leaving off in our recording for the break because I just want to get to the next
Yeah,
one
I
so
know.
badly.
Yeah.
Ugh,
But like
yeah.
oh my god, I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this stretch of chapters had so much going for it. Like you guys were saying, like the lore reveals, like the backstory for like Law and Doflamingo. We've got a lot of context for both characters. You found out who this Corazon person was. We also had like this, I feel like, very interesting philosophical discussion about, Doflamingo as a character, Fujitora, like what they stand for, and Law, like where he's at, and like what he went through, what he's going through, what his motivations are. There's so much to talk about, and like I feel like there's probably things that like we didn't even get to discuss because there's so much to talk about. Just for the sake of time, like we have to stop at some point, but there's like so much we could be talking about. So if we miss something, that was unintentional. But there's just so many things that it's very likely that we miss some things that maybe will come later. But that is where we're gonna leave things for now, though. But we did have a lot to talk about, and this was very interesting. A couple of chapters to go through. And it's also crazy
Can't wait.
because like this is the direction that Dressrosa went. Because like Dressrosa has been it's covered so much ground, and now we're into another flashback, and we're going into Law and Doflamingo's flashback. So this is pretty crazy. All right, but that will conclude this week's episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. You can find this episode wherever podcasts are found at We're Reading One Piece podcast.buzzsprout.com or on the YouTube channel at We're Reading One Piece. This is a spoiler-free channel to where we record the podcast. If you're new to the series, you can visit the channel there. You can also find me and this podcast on my YouTube channel at Parking Codex for more One Piece content. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at werereadingonepiece@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from listeners, so if you're enjoying the show, or if you have any suggestions on how we can make it better, let us know. Next episode, we'll be starting Volume 77, Smile. I've been Joel, and I've been joined by Evan.
Thanks for listening.
And Cody.
I need the next volume ASAP.
Dude.
Let's go.
All right. Well, in the meantime, be sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you on the next episode.